over the course of the next few weeks, we'll be returning to our normal project work and also working with you guys in the classroom, because boy, have we missed working with students in the classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on our session today, we'll be focused on lunar greenhouses. So behind the scenes, we've been working on a project called the Australian Virtual Astronaut Challenge, or AVA for short. This has been a collaboration with a group of amazing people, and we are going to give you an insight today into what a greenhouse might look like if we tried to build one on the moon. If you actually want to participate in this challenge or would like further information in the actual AVID project, I'll place the details below in the description. So what have you got for us today, Glennie D?
Well, we've had some interest in helping students with with a design project on how do you come up with designs? What's that design process? So we're focusing today on coming up with ideas.
Okay.
And students say to me, where do I start? Well, I say the best way is just to make a start. So if I was looking at this design project, I would first up do some research, and I found out, Miss B, that some of the things to keep plants alive on the moon are just the same as on Earth.
Wow.
So they would include temperature. We're going to need some light, humidity, in other words, some moisture. We're going to need to protect the plants from radiation. That is more so on the moon, because we have cosmic radiation, little smashed atom particles whizzing through space, and we need to shield the plants from that. It's pretty easy to do, though, is the good news. Airflow. Sometimes plant-based diseases are the result of not enough airflow around the plants. Nutrients, as we know, and this is a more practical element here. We need some way to prune them, because pruning them also helps with the airflow. They're all interdependent. And on the moon, there's no air, so we're going to need to provide air, but it may not necessarily be the same as here on Earth. It could be more CO2, less O2, but we definitely need some air and some air pressure, because there is no atmosphere and the air is going to want to escape. So we're going to need to contain that somehow, Miss B.
And so what we really need to do is, when we're thinking about the form of our actual design for our greenhouse, it has to allow for all these systems.
Yes.
Right. So the actual shape or form of that greenhouse has to be very, very functional, allowing for each of these different considerations.
Yes. So the AVA project is looking at growing plants on the moon. And I'm going to choose one of these today and look at the practical, what it is going to be contained in, and also how we would prune and harvest it. So let's have a look quickly at something that is inflatable. I could look at options of do I build a dome. The problem with the dome is that it's all true, but just like a balloon, when you blow it up, a dome is always wanting to get to a spherical shape. So I would need to pull it down somehow very tightly, or I would build something under the ground and like a tunnel, or I could put something like a cylinder on the ground and then bury it in the Mars rock, which is called regolith. So I've got some options there. I'm going today to go with a cylinder. So we first arrive in the moon and we need something to pop up quickly. We're going to go with a cylinder.
Okay, so the cylinder is going to be inflatable, right?
Yes.
Now, the concept of actually burying it, is that got to do with our radiation issue?
Well, yes, exactly. It's the radiation issue. It shields it, but also it could help regulate the temperature. But as with any design, it's like a seesaw. If I go, well, this is going to be the best way to shield it, the problem is that it makes other problems, and that is it's hard to move regolith, and it could affect airflow, all that sort of thing. But let's just concentrate on this. Let me draw one side on. There is a cylinder looking from the side. It looks like a rectangle. So let's head over to the 3D. We'll grab the splat. And I've got a cylinder there. I'm going to slide and draw a rough cylinder. So we're just talking about rough ideas here. So there is a cylinder. Now, I'm going to need somewhere to service that cylinder from. So let's attach it to something. Let's go a square prism kind of shape. So let's come up here and sketch one here like this. Let's add some sides in there. Let's go upside down here and draw a top. And first of all, I'm just going to round off those corners. Okay, so now we have a service module. First thing is with temperature, we need maybe some plants like to be in a warm section. So let's build another section over here for the cool. So I'm going to go that, slide down here, and now we have a second cool section.
So your actual design here, what I'm considering is that it's completely modular.
Yes.
So that you would be able to attach these warm or cool temperature regulated separate sections in a modular fashion.
Yes.
Okay, to a service unit.
Yeah, good word, SP. Modular, I like that. How do we get in and out?
Well, we'd have to consider our airflow. So there'd have to be some sort of airlock, I imagine.
Airlock, right. So let's draw this one onto our side view. Let's update our side view. And out the back here, let me draw another shape. And it's actually another cylinder. Let's update our 3D view. So I'm going to take this cylinder, I'm going to run it right through to the back there.
You mean the ellipse
section?
Yep.
Yeah, this an ellipse which forms the cylinder.
Yep.
So now what I'm building out the back here is an airlock. So someone coming up to enter the design there will go into the airlock, close, pressurize this section, and then they go through into here.
The service unit module. Yep. Okay.
Great. So here we have the very beginnings of thinking about a lunar design, a lunar greenhouse. And coming back to your point, Miss B, with burying it, I suppose temperature, it's going to be easier to regulate the temperature. It gets like 170 degrees in space when the sun's shining, and then it becomes freezing cold on the dark side. So, or when it rotates away. And
I guess if we bury it, there's less likelihood on the moon that we'd actually see any form of erosion and it wearing away, because I'm under the impression that we don't have that same issue on the moon as we do on Mars, because one of the considerations on Mars is the strong winds and the erosion effects. But it's different when we're looking at the lunar environment.
True. I hadn't thought of that, but learner drivers on the moon, we don't want to have an accident. But so yeah, it's probably safer in one way being under. But again, with the seesaw, it's safer being under, but it may not. It's a lot more work and hazard in digging a hole and burying something and that sort of thing. So that's what makes
you should know
great.
we don't agree very often. Okay, all right. What have you got next for us, Lindy?
Well, supporting this system, we know that we're going to need humidity. We're going to need water. So what about we build a little water tank here? And we put some legs on there. That way we've got some water pressure to supply water. We do have 1/6 of the gravity there. So gravity is going to work to supply the system. And maybe we need some very tall cylinders on their end, because we could be trying to grow some very tall plants, maybe even trees.
And that would allow for a modular unit. Like I know that we've been looking at some of the Invertigrow units.
Yes.
Invertigrow is actually an Australian company that manufactures a modular system that is being used in experiments for space. And some of those are very tall, very, very tall, but others aren't. So again, we could look at a modular process for creating different heights for the plants.
Yes, yeah, it's all about modular, so I can grow and adapt to the plants. So, Miss B, my next stage here is generating ideas. Now, like I said, the best place is just to start. So I've drawn 3 options here. Let's focus in now just at how we could physically arrange the plants within the greenhouse. So my first idea is to add maybe a floor. Underneath the floor could be water and storage systems, so it's not wasted space. And then what we could do is, like in vertical gardens, I just printed off a picture off the internet here. You can see how these plants are growing around a central service system here. So these are vertical gardens or tower gardens. So going back to here, we could have our plants growing there. Let me just change colour here. So we have some vertical gardens, and the person would access these by physically moving around. We're going to need a light source here as well. So there's option 1.
Okay, so what I'm understanding is that this is a sectional view inside this cylinder.
Yes, that's right, Miss B. Let's look at how it would look in 3D. If I draw the floor in here, and then we'll come along this way. So there is my floor, and my vertical garden would be along here and along this way. So show you that. There's all my greenery.
Right.
Yep. So if I cut, or how we get from this view to this view is if I cut a circle all the way through there, and then looked, here's someone looking straight on this way, what they'd see is this sectional view.
Yep.
Yeah, great. So let's do another concept.
Okay. I'm interested that you've put a person in this one, because I'm imagining that there will be times in space or on the moon where we may look at some sort of automated robotic system,
yes,
that would be able to harvest or prune the plants. So that's something else I'm quite interested in. But anyway, you keep going, Mr. Clooney D.
That's great. Let's follow that idea.
Okay.
So what about if we placed a cylinder inside the cylinder and we actually grew plants all the way around? So remember, it's only 1/6 of the gravity, so they're not going to tend to fall down so much.
Right.
So we could have plants all around, and then we could have like a robot picker in here that's doing all the work, or we could still put a platform in here, something like this, and then have a worker still working away like that.
Okay, so it would rotate.
Yeah,
the question
exactly.
I have there then is the light consideration. So our light source, would it be, would our light source, or would that rotate to access a light source?
Yeah, good point. It doesn't need, lights can actually grow 24 hours a day. So
lights can grow 24 hours a day.
Plants under light, thank you, can grow. They don't actually need a nighttime. So we could have lights spread around half of it, and as it rotates, it's getting light in turn. Or I suppose you could spread your LED lights all around, and when the person is out of there, the lights can be shining and growing 24/7. It's actually a really efficient way to grow plants. Okay,
I like it. Efficiency is key. And what's the last one that you're thinking of?
Well, the last one I was inspired by the Invertigrow and a system like this. Microsoft are into growing plants and things like that too. It's crazy. So what about if I went something like, here's a floor, and if I had a cylindrical, like a tower system here, and the person could move in and around them. Or I suppose you could have the towers stacked close together, like in a library, the crush system, and then they could move around. But let's just go with some basic ones here. I'm going to draw a little bit bigger here for you. I'll just change pens.
Oh, could some of these units be kept underground, and then you could actually, have you ever seen those underground garages where there's cars and then they just pop up the one that they want?
Yeah.
So maybe these could be underground sort of growing towers that come up to be pruned and then they're put back subterranean. So anyway.
So I'm using the small ellipse here, Miss B, to draw a cylinder, full cylinder, come down here, and I'm using overlapping to help it make it look 3D. So here are my, I'll change pens. Here are my fabulous green plants and things growing in there. And this is a great way, if you're drawing something that won't fit in there, we just draw something like this to show the idea. And then we say, in what's going on in here is
so an expanded view.
Yeah, expanded view, great. So here's 3 concepts. And I could equally come up with 3 concepts for how to provide light, humidity, airflow. Do I blow air through the plants? As this rotates, the plants might tend to flop down and then flop sideways. And so in that way, it's encouraging airflow and that sort of thing. So when you're designing, coming up with just 3 concepts for each of these things would give me a really rich source of ideas to then combine in different ways to other people to produce an original design.
In a class situation where you've got a group of students doing it, do you think it could be fun to get a group of students to do 3 concepts for each different area, and then as a class collaborate as you would see in a true engineering team?
Yes, exactly. Because the ideas that you'll get from combining everyone's thoughts will be better than each would come up with. Yeah, it's great. Bouncing ideas off people is a great way to generate new thoughts.
So don't be afraid to visualize your ideas. It's really, really powerful, quick exercise that you can set up that will help when you are working with others to share those ideas and explain the function and different elements.
Yes.
So I've absolutely loved that today. If you have any interest in the Australian Virtual Astronaut Challenge, it comes with workbooks and lives with an amazing array of professionals from around the world. Please just reach out to us, email us, or I'll put the link in the description below. It's totally free.